Chapter 1. The Drawing That Refused to Fade. Arya Thorne had spent her entire life orbiting the thin boundary between memory and reality, where the echoes of whispered legends often blurred into the harsh light of the present. Growing up on the arid, windswept plains of Epsilon V9, one of the outermost mining colonies on the fringe of human expansion, her days were filled with the clamor of machinery and the endless dust storms that seemed determined to erase every trace of civilization from the surface. Yet, within the worn walls of her grandmother's tiny, weather-beaten home, far removed from the industrial grind, a single artifact defied the relentless decay of time and the skepticism of a pragmatic world. It was a drawing, delicate, detailed, and mysterious, that depicted a starship unlike any Arya had ever seen in the countless databases she'd scoured, nor in the countless vessels she had encountered throughout her years as an astrogator and salvager. Her grandmother, Alicia, had been a woman of many secrets. To the world, she was a frail old lady with eyes as bright as distant stars and hands gnarled by the years. But to Arya, she was a keeper of forgotten truths and a weaver of stories that danced on the thin line between myth and history. The ship in the drawing was called the Luminera, and it bore no resemblance to any known design within the Galactic Registry. It was sleek, but with an organic elegance, as if it had been sculpted by the cosmos itself rather than forged by human hands. Its curves flowed like liquid light, and its hull was etched with intricate patterns that shimmered faintly, as though alive with the memories of a civilization long vanished. As a child, Arya had sat entranced for hours listening to Alicia recount the tale of the Luminera, how it had sailed the stars long before humans learned to dream of space, how it carried explorers into realms beyond human comprehension, realms where time and space intertwined in ways that defied logic and reason. She had told Arya that the ship was a guardian of secrets, a vessel of knowledge left behind by ancestors who understood the true nature of the universe. But such tales, no matter how vivid and enchanting, were dismissed by most as mere bedtime stories, the whimsical fabrications of an old woman seeking to entertain her granddaughter and shield her from the loneliness of the frontier world. Yet, as Arya grew older, those stories haunted her dreams. The image of the Luminera never faded, etched deeply into the corners of her mind like a beacon calling her toward a destiny she had not yet understood. Her days were consumed by the harsh realities of life on Epsilon V9, but the drawing remained her secret talisman, a symbol of hope and mystery that defied the drudgery of her existence. She became a scavenger and salvager, navigating the forgotten trade routes and derelict star systems to find relics of the past that others deemed worthless. It was a dangerous life, punctuated by the cold void of space, the unpredictability of abandoned wrecks, and the constant threat of piracy and corporate greed. But it was a life she chose willingly, driven by an unshakable conviction that one day, she would uncover the truth behind her grandmother's tales. The opportunity came unexpectedly. During a routine salvage mission on the outskirts of the Orion Fringe, a sector notorious for its abandoned vessels and forgotten war relics, Arya's ship intercepted a faint, coded transmission. The signal was faint, a ghostly whisper against the backdrop of cosmic radiation, but unmistakably artificial and purposeful. It pulsed with an eerie rhythm, encoded in a language that defied her ship's standard decryptors, but carried a signature that sparked recognition deep within her, a signature she had only ever encountered in her grandmother's stories. The coordinates embedded in the transmission pointed to a remote asteroid belt hidden within a nebula, a place far beyond the reach of most explorers and outside the jurisdiction of the Consolidated Galactic Authority, a place where secrets could remain hidden for centuries. The moment she locked onto those coordinates, a surge of adrenaline coursed through her veins, mingling with a profound sense of awe and trepidation. What if the Luminera was real? What if the ship her grandmother had drawn from memory, or perhaps from a forgotten encounter, was still out there, waiting to be found? The questions overwhelmed her, but the answer was clear: she had to go, no matter the risk. As her ship weaved through the dense asteroid field, battered by cosmic dust and illuminated only by the faint glow of distant stars, Arya's mind raced through the legends she had memorized. The Luminera was said to be a vessel that transcended time, capable of traversing not just the physical cosmos, but the very fabric of existence itself. It had been lost for millennia, its name fading into myth, its technology regarded as magical by those who glimpsed its remains. Now, as the nebula's shimmering veil parted, the silhouette of a massive starship emerged from the shadows. A ghost ship drifting in the void, its hull alight with the soft, pulsating glow of bioluminescent circuits that had not yet died. The resemblance was uncanny. The Luminara was no mere story. Aria's heart thundered as she approached the ship's ancient docking bay. The vast, hollow corridors echoed with the silence of abandonment, the air stale with the scent of ionized metals and a faint, almost imperceptible hint of something organic. The walls bore intricate carvings and alien sigils that danced faintly beneath her suit's scanners, a language of light and shadow that seemed to pulse with life. As she stepped deeper into the ship, the cold stillness was broken only by the hum of dormant machines awakening to her presence. The ship was alive in ways she had never imagined, its systems flickering on like the slow pulse of a heartbeat long paused. Every step Aria took was weighted with a mix of wonder and unease. She could feel the ship's memory weaving around her, threads of the past intertwining with the present in an enigmatic dance. Images flickered in her mind, flashes of star fields, distant worlds bathed in twin suns, and faces of explorers who had sailed these cosmic seas. It was as if the Luminara itself was reaching out, whispering secrets to her, promising revelations that could change humanity's understanding of the universe forever. Yet, amid the marvel, a shadow lurked, something ancient and watchful, waiting for the right moment to reveal itself. Aria's grandmother had warned her that the ship was not merely a vessel but a guardian, a protector of knowledge and power that could not be wielded lightly. And as Aria ventured deeper, guided by the faint glow of the ship's bioluminescent pathways, she could sense that the true journey was only just beginning. The hatch to the central chamber opened before her, revealing a crystalline console etched with symbols that seemed to shift and shimmer under her gaze. As she reached out, the console sprang to life, flooding the chamber with radiant light. The air vibrated with energy, and the ship's ancient voice echoed in her mind, a voice that was at once familiar and otherworldly, calling her not just as a salvage operator, but as a chosen heir to a cosmic legacy. Aria's breath caught. This was no longer a quest for salvage or profit. It was a voyage into the heart of the unknown, a journey that would test her courage, her resolve, and her understanding of what it meant to be human in a universe far vaster and stranger than she had ever imagined. And somewhere, deep within the ship's core, a secret waited, a secret that could illuminate the stars or plunge them into eternal darkness. The glow from the crystalline console bathed the central chamber in an ethereal light, casting long shadows that flickered like ancient ghosts dancing on the walls. Aria stood motionless for a moment, feeling the weight of the silence pressing around her, as if the ship itself were holding its breath, waiting for her next move. Every fiber of her being hummed with a mixture of exhilaration and unease, the kind that came with stepping into realms untouched by time and logic. The console's surface shimmered beneath her fingertips, smooth and warm, unlike any cold, dead machine she had ever encountered. It was alive with an intelligence that defied explanation, responding to her presence with a language not spoken but felt, vibrations of thought and emotion that cascaded through her mind like a symphony of stars being born. As the ship awakened more fully around her, faint echoes of a forgotten past began to resonate within the chamber. Images flared in her mind's eye, flashes of distant galaxies swirling in colors she had no names for, corridors bustling with ethereal beings whose forms shimmered and shifted between solid and light, and voices that spoke in harmonies beyond human comprehension. Aria realized she was not just witnessing memories. She was being drawn into a living archive, the ship's consciousness unfolding itself to her, as if recognizing a long-lost kin. It was overwhelming, a torrent of information, emotion, and history washing over her, threatening to drown her in its vastness. Yet, beneath the flood of alien knowledge, a clear thread wove through it all, a warning, a plea, and an invitation. Her grandmother's stories suddenly took on a new gravity. Alicia had spoken of the Luminera not as a mere vessel, but as a guardian of cosmic balance, a ship entrusted with the delicate task of maintaining the harmony between dimensions and time itself. It was said that those who sailed the Luminera were chosen to bear the burden of ancient wisdom and power, their lives forever intertwined with the fate of the stars. Aria's hands trembled as she traced the glowing glyphs on the console, feeling a resonance deep within her soul, a connection that was more than coincidence, more than destiny. The ship was calling her, not just to discover its secrets, but to become part of its legacy. Suddenly, the chamber shifted. Walls that had seemed solid and eternal rippled like water, revealing hidden passageways bathed in the same soft luminescence. The ship's architecture defied earthly logic, corridors folding and unfolding in impossible geometries, as if space itself were malleable within this ancient vessel. Aria stepped forward, her senses sharpening as she navigated the labyrinthine interior. The air hummed with latent energy, alive with a rhythm that synced to her heartbeat. It was a sacred place, a convergence point of science and mysticism where the boundaries of reality blurred. Every step she took was a journey deeper into the enigma, revealing fragments of knowledge embedded in crystalline data nodes, holographic star maps projecting unknown constellations, and fragments of star charts marking temporal rifts and hidden realms. As she wandered further, Aria's mind raced with questions. How had her grandmother come to know of this place? Had she been a traveler of these stars once, or merely a recipient of forbidden knowledge passed down through generations? The ship seemed to answer in subtle ways. Holographic images of a younger woman appeared briefly, a figure who bore an uncanny resemblance to Alicia, walking these same halls, her eyes filled with purpose and sorrow. Was it possible that her grandmother had been more than a teller of tales? Had she been a guardian herself, or perhaps the last in a lineage bound to the Luminera? The implications overwhelmed Aria's thoughts, yet within her surged a fierce determination to uncover the truth. Suddenly, a soft chime echoed through the chamber, a beckoning, gentle yet insistent. Following the sound, Aria entered a vast dome-like room at the ship's core. Suspended in the center was a sphere of swirling light, a miniature galaxy spinning in perpetual motion, cradled by intricate tendrils of energy that pulsed with cosmic vitality. The Luminera's heart. It was here that the ship's true purpose was revealed, to safeguard the delicate fabric of the universe, to navigate the folds of time and space, and to protect the legacy of countless civilizations. The sphere responded to her presence, its light intensifying, casting kaleidoscopic patterns that danced across the chamber walls. Aria reached out hesitantly, and as her fingers brushed the sphere's surface, a surge of knowledge flooded her. Star systems beyond known charts, timelines branching and converging, and a profound understanding of existence itself. It was intoxicating and terrifying. She saw glimpses of futures both glorious and catastrophic, of civilizations rising and falling like tides. The Luminera was more than a ship. It was a cosmic sentinel, a keeper of balance amid chaos. Yet, amidst the awe, a shadow loomed in her mind. A caution whispered through the ages. The power housed within the Luminera was immense, capable of shaping destinies or unraveling them. To wield it required sacrifice and wisdom beyond measure. Aria realized that her journey had only just begun. The ship's mysteries were hers to unravel, but the consequences of her discoveries would ripple through the stars, touching lives and futures yet unborn. As the chamber dimmed, the ship settling into a quiet vigil once more, Aria stood alone beneath the weight of revelation. The Luminera was no bedtime story. It was real, alive, and waiting for her to step beyond legend and into a destiny that could redefine humanity's place among the stars. Chapter 2. Echoes of a Forgotten Legacy. The hours that followed Aria's first encounter with the Luminera's core were unlike anything she had ever experienced. The ship no longer felt like a dormant relic or a forgotten hulk drifting in the void. It had become a living entity, responsive, sentient, and profoundly ancient. It was as if the very soul of the Luminera reached out through the intricate network of bioluminescent veins that coursed beneath its sleek hull, threading through its walls, corridors, and chambers like a nervous system awakening after millennia of silence. Aria had ventured into the heart of the ship, and in return, the ship had begun to weave its story into her mind-fractured visions and whispers of cosmic truths that both dazzled and unsettled her. Time stretched and folded around her like a cosmic tapestry, and for a moment, she wondered if she had slipped beyond the boundaries of human experience altogether. Aria's thoughts returned to her grandmother, Alicia, whose stories now seemed less like comforting fictions and more like warnings encoded in legend. Why had her grandmother hidden the Luminara's image in that drawing for all those years? What had she hoped to protect, and what had she feared? These questions tugged relentlessly at the edges of Aria's mind, their weight growing heavier with each step deeper into the ship's labyrinth. The Luminara was not simply a vessel. It was a sentinel guarding the ancient covenant between stars and time, a repository of civilizations lost and futures yet unborn. And now, Aria stood at the precipice of a revelation that would alter everything she thought she knew about humanity's place in the cosmos. Navigating the ship's impossible architecture was a challenge unto itself. Corridors folded back upon themselves, staircases spiraled into endless loops, and rooms shifted in size and shape with an almost playful unpredictability. Gravity felt variable in different sectors, sometimes Earth normal, other times weightless or strangely heavy, as if the ship was testing her, preparing her for the unknown. The walls pulsed gently with an organic glow, casting patterns reminiscent of ancient constellations, and symbols danced across her visor, their meanings tantalizingly just out of reach. It was a language that transcended spoken words, a language of light, energy, and emotion intertwined. As Aria ventured deeper, she encountered what appeared to be the Luminara's library, a vast chamber lined with crystalline data repositories suspended in midair, each shard flickering with holographic projections of knowledge spanning millennia. Images of alien worlds flooded her vision, lush jungles under emerald suns, deserts carved by winds of crystalline dust, oceans of liquid methane shimmering beneath sapphire skies. There were portraits of beings both humanoid and utterly alien, their faces etched with wisdom and sorrow, their eyes reflecting stories of exploration, war, and transcendence. Aria felt like an intruder in a sacred temple, yet also a chosen guest invited to bear witness to a cosmic heritage forgotten by time. One repository contained the fragmented memory of an explorer named Kalene, figure who resonated with Aria in an uncanny way. His journeys took him to the furthest reaches of known space, chronicling encounters with entities that defied comprehension and cataloging phenomena that bent the laws of physics. Through his memories, Aria glimpsed the challenges faced by those who sailed the Luminara: loneliness among the stars, the burden of safeguarding knowledge too powerful for ordinary minds, and the constant threat posed by cosmic forces eager to seize control of the ship's secrets. Kalen's final entry was a chilling warning. The Luminara's power was coveted by entities that lurked in the shadows between dimensions, waiting to unleash chaos upon the fragile fabric of reality. The weight of that warning settled heavily on Aria's shoulders. She was no longer just a salvage operator chasing the faint hope of lost treasure. She had become a guardian by inheritance, a link in a chain that stretched across the ages. But with this realization came fear. Was she prepared for the responsibilities now thrust upon her? What sacrifices would she have to make to protect a secret that could unravel the very universe if mishandled? Her musings were interrupted by a sudden shift in the ship's environment. The luminescent patterns on the walls coalesced into a radiant map, projecting a complex network of star systems, temporal rifts, and hidden realms. At its center hovered a pulsating point of light, the Luminara's original homeworld, a planet shrouded in mystery and legend, lost to time and memory. The map seemed to beckon her, urging exploration, promising answers to questions that had long haunted humanity's dreams. The path ahead was clear, yet fraught with unknown perils. Determined to uncover the truth, Aria accessed the ship's navigation console. Streams of data cascaded across her visor as the Luminara responded to her touch, syncing with her neural interface and adapting to her presence. It was a symbiosis of human and ancient technology, a dance of wills merging across epochs. The ship's engines whispered to life, their power dormant for centuries now stirring with renewed vigor. The Luminara was ready to sail again, and Arya was its captain. But the moment of triumph was tempered by an unsettling realization. The ship's sensors detected an anomaly, a presence lurking just beyond the veil of known space. Shadows shifting in the cosmic dark, eyes watching, waiting. Arya felt a chill that had nothing to do with the void's cold embrace. The Luminara's secrets were coveted, and she was no longer alone in her quest. Forces older and more dangerous than she had imagined were stirring, and the battle for the ship's legacy had only just begun. In that instant, the true magnitude of her journey unfolded before her. It was a voyage not just through the stars, but through time, memory, and the very essence of existence. The Luminara was her heritage, her burden, and her hope. And as the ship prepared to break the chains of silence and drift once more into the cosmic sea, Arya understood that her life and the fate of countless worlds would never be the same. Chapter 3: Shadows in the Cosmic Veil. The Luminara surged into motion with a grace that belied its ancient origins, the subtle hum of its bioluminescent core resonating deep within Arya's very bones as the ship slipped free from the gravitational clutch of the derelict asteroid belt. Outside the viewport, the stars shifted and danced, a familiar cosmic ballet that had both soothed and haunted her since childhood, but never with such intensity or significance. Each distant sun, each speck of light, now pulsed with meaning, as though the universe itself acknowledged the awakening of a long-dormant sentinel. Arya's hands rested lightly on the command console, her fingers gliding over the translucent controls that responded fluidly to her intent, the interface a seamless extension of her consciousness. The ship had chosen her, that much was clear. Yet the gravity of that selection pressed heavily on her spirit, a mix of wonder and trepidation settling like a shroud. She sat alone in the command chamber, surrounded by swirling holographic displays that rendered the void in vivid detail. Star clusters teeming with nebulous clouds, pathways through space-time that flickered with shifting probabilities, and distant worlds whose names were whispered in the oldest legends. The Luminara was not simply a ship of transport or exploration, it was a vessel designed to navigate the cosmic veil itself, to thread the needle between dimensions and timelines that defied human comprehension. The ancient maps etched into its memory revealed routes through the astral seas where light bent and time folded, places where existence shimmered between reality and dream. To master the Luminara was to master the very essence of space and time, a responsibility that could either elevate humanity to new heights or doom it to oblivion. Her thoughts drifted to the enigmatic figures she had glimpsed within the ship's memory archives, explorers and guardians whose lives had intertwined with the Luminara across millennia. Kaelin, the chronicler whose warnings still echoed in her mind, was only one among many. There was Celera, the scientist who had attempted to unlock the ship's temporal engines, only to vanish into a fold in space-time. Theros, the warrior who had defended the Luminara against interdimensional marauders, and countless others whose sacrifices and triumphs were woven into the ship's consciousness like threads in a cosmic tapestry. Their voices were faint but persistent, urging Arya onward, reminding her that she was not alone. The Luminara was a living legacy, and she was its newest bearer. But the awakening of the ship had not gone unnoticed. As the Luminara charted a course toward its lost homeworld, hidden deep within a nebula that shimmered with ethereal light, the ship's sensors detected an ominous presence lurking in the shadows of the cosmic veil. It was a distortion in the fabric of space-time, subtle, yet unmistakably artificial. Something ancient, powerful, and malevolent was tracking their journey, a force that sought to claim the Luminara's secrets for itself. Arya's heart pounded as she realized that her mission was no longer one of discovery alone. It had become a race against time, a battle against darkness that threatened to unravel the fragile balance of the universe. The ship's hull trembled faintly as the entity drew closer, an unseen predator stalking its prey across the void. Arya activated the defensive protocols encoded deep within the Luminara's systems, ancient shields flickering to life with a brilliance that lit up the darkness like a supernova. The ship's weaponry, though archaic by modern standards, pulsed with latent energy capable of tearing through the fabric of reality itself. Yet Arya knew that force alone would not be enough. The true strength of the Luminera lay in its knowledge, its ability to manipulate the currents of space-time and bend the cosmos to its will. To survive, she would have to master that power and fast. Days blurred into nights as the Luminera sailed through starfields unknown, its engines humming a steady rhythm that resonated with the pulse of the universe. Arya delved deeper into the ship's archives, unlocking fragments of forbidden knowledge and arcane science that challenged her understanding of existence. She learned of the Celestial Concordance, an ancient alliance of civilizations that had once guarded the galaxy against cosmic threats, using the Luminera as their flagship and repository of wisdom. Their downfall had been swift and tragic, a victim of betrayal and hubris that left the ship adrift and forgotten. Yet their legacy endured, hidden within the ship's very essence, waiting for a new guardian to rise. As she absorbed these revelations, Arya began to feel a transformation within herself. The neural interface integrated more deeply with her mind, enhancing her senses and expanding her perception beyond the ordinary. Colors became richer, sounds more layered, and time itself seemed to stretch and contract at her will. She could glimpse the threads of possibility branching before her, pathways that led to salvation or destruction. The burden of knowledge was immense, but it was also intoxicating, a glimpse into the infinite dance of creation and entropy that defined the cosmos. Yet amidst this awakening, doubts gnawed at her resolve. Was she truly prepared to shoulder such a mantle? Could one human, from a dusty outpost on the galactic fringe, hope to command the forces that shaped reality itself? The memory of her grandmother's gentle voice whispered through her mind, a balm against the storm of uncertainty. Alicia had believed in the Luminera's promise and in Arya's destiny. That belief, passed down through generations, was a beacon in the darkness. Suddenly, alarms shattered the contemplative silence. The ship's sensors screamed of an incoming breach. An entity had pierced the Luminera's outer defenses and was now attempting to infiltrate its core systems. Arya's hands flew over the controls, deploying countermeasures and sealing access points. The ship shuddered violently as unseen forces clashed around it, the cosmic predator probing for weaknesses. She felt the Luminera respond in kind, its ancient defenses rallying to protect their sanctuary. Through the flickering viewport, shadows danced, a shifting, amorphous mass that defied physical form, its presence a void of cold intent. It was the darkness that had haunted the legends, the predator that sought to consume knowledge and twist it into chaos. Arya steeled herself, knowing that the battle ahead would test not only her skill, but her very will to survive. The Luminera's voice, calm yet resolute, filled her mind. Guardian, you are not alone. Trust in the legacy. Trust in yourself. With that affirmation, Arya felt a surge of strength and purpose. The ship and its guardian were one. Together, they would face the shadows in the cosmic veil and determine the fate of stars. Chapter 4. The Legacy Ignited. The Luminera hummed with a renewed vitality, its very core pulsing in rhythm with Arya's quickened heartbeat as they breached the outer veil of the nebula that had long concealed the ship's homeworld. Outside, the swirling cosmic clouds shimmered in iridescent hues, sapphire, violet, and gold, folding and unfolding like the breath of some vast celestial being. This was the threshold between forgotten history and the unfolding future, a liminal space where time and space itself bent to the will of the ancient sentinel. Arya stood at the command console, her eyes reflecting the kaleidoscopic dance of stars and nebulae, her mind stretched wide, absorbing the weight of everything that had led her to this moment. The ship was no longer simply a vessel. It was a living repository of the universe's deepest secrets, and she was its guardian, its chosen heir. Her journey had been fraught with peril and revelation. The shadowy entity that had pursued them across the void had tested the Luminera's defenses, probing for weaknesses, seeking to claim its knowledge for a darkness that threatened to unravel the fragile fabric of reality. Yet the ship, awakened by Arya's resolve and the lineage she bore, had responded with power and grace, turning the predator away with a display of energy that seared through the void like a supernova's flare. But victory was only temporary. The threat lingered, a reminder that knowledge and power were coveted treasures, and that guardianship was a burden fraught with sacrifice. As the ship descended toward the concealed planet below, Aria's thoughts turned to the legacy. She was now entrusted with a legacy that spanned millennia and galaxies, a covenant forged by civilizations that had risen and fallen like tides in the cosmic sea. The Luminara's homeworld lay shrouded beneath a veil of luminescent clouds, its surface marked by ruins that echoed with the memories of a civilization that had once mastered the interplay of energy, matter, and time itself. It was a world where technology and mysticism had blended into a harmonious symphony, where knowledge was sacred and wielded with wisdom and caution. The ship's descent was smooth, guided by ancient navigational algorithms that adjusted seamlessly to the planet's unique gravitational and atmospheric conditions. As the Luminara settled into a hidden docking bay carved into the crystalline cliffs of a mountain range, Aria felt the weight of history pressing down upon her. This was the cradle of her ancestors' greatest achievements and their most profound failures. It was here that she would uncover the final truths of the ship's purpose and face the ultimate test of her guardianship. Stepping out onto the planet's surface, Aria was greeted by a landscape both alien and hauntingly beautiful. Towering spires of translucent crystal caught the light of the planet's twin suns, casting prisms of color that danced across the rocky terrain. Bioluminescent flora pulsed gently beneath her feet, their glow a silent testament to the planet's enduring vitality despite the passage of eons. The air was thick with the scent of ionized minerals and something more elusive, a lingering presence of the consciousness that had once thrived here. Guided by the ship's integrated systems, Aria made her way toward the central citadel, a vast structure of glass and metal that rose from the heart of the ancient city like a beacon. The walls were etched with symbols that matched those within the Luminara, telling stories of cosmic harmony, conflict, and transcendence. Inside, she found the council chamber, an immense hall lined with statues of the celestial guardians who had once governed the balance of the universe, their eyes carved with expressions of solemn duty and infinite wisdom. At the chamber's center lay the Heartstone, a pulsating crystal that radiated energy so pure and potent it seemed to resonate with the very core of existence. This was the source of the Luminara's power, the nexus between technology and spirit, the anchor that tethered the ship across dimensions and time. Aria approached with reverence, feeling the crystal's hum synchronize with her own essence. She reached out, and as her fingers brushed its surface, a flood of visions overwhelmed her, a panoramic view of the galaxy's history, the rise and fall of empires, the endless dance of creation and destruction. Within this torrent of insight, she saw the true purpose of her mission, to rekindle the flame of guardianship, to awaken the legacy of the celestial concordance, and to stand as a sentinel against the encroaching darkness. She understood that the Luminara was not merely a ship, but a symbol, a beacon of hope and resilience, a reminder that even in the vast, indifferent cosmos, light and knowledge could endure. But with enlightenment came sacrifice. The crystal's power demanded a connection, a merging of will that would bind Aria to the ship and its destiny irrevocably. To accept was to embrace a path from which there was no return, a journey that would transcend the bounds of mortal life and anchor her spirit within the eternal flow of cosmic balance. The weight of this choice settled over her like a mantle woven from stars and shadows. As she hesitated, the chamber's silence was broken by a sudden disturbance, a ripple in the fabric of reality that heralded the arrival of the shadowed adversary. The entity that had stalked them across the void had found them again, its presence manifesting as a swirling vortex of darkness that threatened to engulf the Heartstone itself. Aria felt the Luminara's systems flare in defense, ancient wards igniting with bursts of radiant energy that pushed back the encroaching void. Drawing strength from the Heartstone, Aria extended her consciousness, channeling the crystal's energy through the ship and into herself. Her mind became a conduit for the cosmic forces that flowed through the Luminara, and in that moment, she transcended the limitations of flesh and bone. She became one with the ship, a guardian woven into the fabric of the universe, her spirit entwined with the light that fought against darkness. The battle was both physical and metaphysical, a clash of wills that rippled across dimensions. The shadows sought to consume, to unravel the threads of existence and plunge the cosmos into chaos. Arya, fortified by the legacy of the Celestial Guardians and the power of the Heartstone, stood resolute, weaving a shield of pure energy that blazed like a supernova. Light and shadow collided, shaping the fate of stars and worlds in a tempest of cosmic fury. As the conflict reached its zenith, a surge of power radiated from Arya and the Luminera, banishing the shadow into the void from which it had come. The chamber's light returned, soft and steady, a testament to the enduring balance she had fought to preserve. Exhausted yet triumphant, Arya felt the profound transformation within herself, the merging of past, present, and future into a singular purpose. The Luminera was no longer a forgotten relic. It was a living legacy, and Arya was its eternal guardian. Her journey had forged a new chapter in the cosmic saga, a testament to the enduring power of hope, knowledge, and the unbreakable bonds that tethered humanity to the stars. As the twin suns cast their light over the crystalline spires of the ancient city, Arya stood poised on the threshold of a new dawn. The universe awaited, vast and mysterious, but no longer unknowable. With the Luminera as her guide and the legacy of the celestial concordance flowing through her veins, she was ready to navigate the infinite horizons of the cosmic sea. Her grandmother's bedtime story had become a truth that transcended time, a beacon to illuminate the darkness and guide future generations toward the stars. And thus, the legacy ignited bright as the first light of creation, eternal as the cosmos itself. The echo of the cosmic battle still resonated faintly within the vast halls of the ancient citadel, even as the Luminera settled into a calm that felt both serene and profound. Arya remained at the Heartstone's crystalline core, her body and mind still pulsing with the aftermath of the confrontation, a symphony of radiant energy and shadowy memories that had left her forever changed. The chamber's light was soft now, casting gentle hues that rippled like liquid across the polished floors, and the once ominous void that had threatened to consume them had been driven back into the depths of oblivion. Yet the victory was not without cost, for Arya understood that she had crossed a threshold from which there was no return. The merging of her consciousness with the Luminera and the Heartstone had bound her essence to the cosmic balance itself, intertwining her fate with the fragile equilibrium of the universe. As she opened her eyes, the world around her seemed transformed not merely by the ship's bioluminescence or the ancient power coursing through the Heartstone, but by a new clarity that settled deep within her soul. She saw the universe in fractal patterns, infinite and interconnected, where every star, planet, and being was a thread woven into a grand cosmic tapestry. The celestial concordance, once a distant legend spoken of in hushed tones, now unfolded before her with vivid immediacy. Their rise and fall, their sacrifices, and their unwavering dedication to preserving the delicate harmony between creation and destruction. Her thoughts turned back to Alicia, her grandmother, the woman whose bedtime stories had been dismissed as fanciful tales by others, but had become the very foundation of Arya's destiny. Had Alicia been one of the last guardians, a keeper of ancient knowledge who had sacrificed her own freedom to preserve the legacy for future generations? The realization filled Arya with a profound sense of continuity and purpose. She was not alone. She was the heir to a lineage that transcended time, charged with the sacred duty to protect and nurture the light within the vast darkness. Suddenly, the chamber's ambient hum shifted, drawing Arya's attention to the walls around her. The ancient glyphs began to pulse rhythmically, their luminescence brightening in a cascade of color and motion. A holographic projection unfolded in midair, revealing a star map far grander and more intricate than any she had seen before. It detailed a network of cosmic gateways, portals between distant galaxies, temporal corridors bridging epochs, and sanctuaries hidden within dimensions unseen by ordinary eyes. This was the true scope of the Luminera's mission, to serve as the sentinel of these gateways, to ensure the flow of knowledge, life, and balance between realms remained unbroken. Arya's mind raced as she processed the enormity of her charge. The Luminera was no mere ship. It was the guardian of existence's very architecture. Her choices henceforth would ripple across space and time, shaping destinies in ways she could scarcely comprehend. The stakes were cosmic, and the burden was immense. Yet within her surged a newfound strength, born of purpose and the unity she now shared with the ship and its legacy. The realization was interrupted by a soft chime echoing from the command console. The ship's AI, an ethereal presence woven from the very fabric of the Luminara's consciousness, spoke in a voice both ancient and comforting. Guardian, the path ahead is fraught with trials. The darkness that seeks to claim the legacy will not rest. You must prepare to confront threats beyond comprehension, forces that bend reality and challenge the will of the cosmos. Arya nodded, the weight of responsibility anchoring her resolve. I am ready, she replied, her voice steady despite the storm of emotion within. Whatever comes, I will stand as the light against the shadow. With that affirmation, the Luminara shifted its course, rising from the hidden bay and launching into the glittering expanse of stars. The nebula's vibrant tendrils streamed past, painting the ship's hull in iridescent hues as it propelled itself toward the first of many gateways. Arya assumed her place at the command chair, the controls flowing beneath her fingertips as though extensions of her very being. The ship responded to her will, navigating the cosmic pathways with elegance and precision. As the Luminara approached the gateway, a colossal structure suspended between dimensions, Arya felt the gravity of the moment. The gateway shimmered like a liquid mirror, reflecting countless realities within its depths. It was a threshold to infinite possibilities, a juncture where past, present, and future intertwined. Passing through would mean traversing realms where the laws of physics bent and the fabric of time could unravel or be reforged. Taking a deep breath, Arya initiated the sequence. The ship surged forward, enveloped in waves of energy as the gateway's portal embraced them. For a moment, reality itself seemed to dissolve into cascades of light and sound, a kaleidoscope of dimensions folding and unfolding around the Luminara. Arya's mind expanded in concert with the journey, experiencing sensations beyond language, moments stretching into eternities, memories folding over futures, and the heartbeat of the cosmos pulsing in harmony with her own. Emerging from the portal, the Luminara entered a realm unlike any known to humanity, a vast cosmic ocean of swirling nebulae, ethereal islands of light, and shadowed depths teeming with unseen wonders and dangers. It was a place where the very essence of existence was fluid and mutable, a crucible for creation and destruction. Here, the Luminara's mission as guardian was paramount, to protect the gateways and ensure the balance remained intact. Suddenly, the ship's sensors detected an approaching anomaly, a massive vortex of corrupted energy, writhing and pulsing with malevolent intent. It was the Darkness Reborn, the entity that had pursued Arya across the void, now amplified and desperate. The battle that ensued was a tempest of light and shadow, the Luminara weaving through the cosmic storm with agility born of millennia-old wisdom and Arya's indomitable spirit. Drawing upon the Heartstone's power, Arya channeled radiant energy through the ship's systems, creating shields of shimmering light that deflected the vortex's assaults. She reached deep into the cosmic currents, manipulating the ebb and flow of energy to unravel the darkness's form. The conflict was not merely physical, it was a war of wills, a cosmic duel that echoed through dimensions and realities. With a final surge, Arya unleashed a torrent of purifying energy, tearing through the vortex and banishing it into the void. The Luminara shimmered with renewed brilliance, the balance restored at least for now. Exhausted yet resolute, Arya understood that her journey was eternal. The legacy of the Luminara was alive, its light a beacon against the encroaching dark, and she was its eternal guardian. As the ship sailed onward through the cosmic sea, Arya gazed out upon the endless stars, her heart filled with hope and determination. The universe was vast and mysterious, but no longer unknowable. With the Luminara as her guide and the legacy of countless generations coursing through her veins, she was ready to face the infinite horizons and protect the fragile light of existence. Her grandmother's bedtime story had become her reality, a truth that transcended time, space, and the very fabric of being. And so, beneath the watchful gaze of distant suns and the silent hymn of the cosmos, The legacy ignited anew bright, eternal, and unyielding.